You can't avoid me. I know you couldn't avoid me. How you doing? Good. Grab you a couple minutes on the Kentucky election results.
Sure.
So, as you know, a lot of folks were saying Rand Paul should start to focus on what's happening in the Senate race back home in light of what's happening in the presidential race. After you saw what happened last night, what do you think about that criticism?
Well, I always thought it was an invalid criticism because I do spend a lot of time in the Senate doing my job. I'm here 99% of the time, have a very good voting record, spend a lot of time at home in Kentucky, making sure I hear what everybody's needs are in Kentucky. So I always thought it was sort of a Washington narrative people had sort of made up to try to harm me by my opponents. But we were really pleased with the results yesterday. I think Matt Bevin's going to make a great governor. It's probably the best election for Republicans in a couple of decades. We won 4 out of 6 offices. So I think Republicans are on the rise in Kentucky, and I'm glad to be part of a party that's winning.
What do you think about, what does this mean, though, if you do end up having to run for re-election in the Senate? How does this affect your race?
Well, I think we're pretty strong. I mean, when you look at most of the polls in Kentucky, we have very good approval ratings, and I think we'll do fine, but I'm not taking anything for granted. I'm going to work hard to make sure that I'm representing Kentucky well. I stayed up all night filibustering against raising the debt ceiling, and I think people know that I'm concerned about our country losing ground as we borrow more and more money.
What is for you the sort of the cutoff date when you decide the presidential thing is not working, it's time to focus on the Senate race exclusively?
When I'm sworn into the White House, I think at that point I'll have to make a decision, and probably there'll be some laws about having to relinquish the Senate seat at that point. But we'll find out when people vote. I think one of the lessons that the media needs to take from yesterday in Kentucky is the pollsters aren't very good. They were off by 13 points, and so I think one of the problems with the presidential race is we've given so much credence to pollsters that all of you guys seem to be directed. You're on the pollsters tell you what to do and you all follow. But the pollsters may not be right, so maybe we ought to have an election where everybody gets to say their piece, and then we count the votes and see. I won't know till we count votes. I have no idea where we stand other than that every time I travel to New Hampshire and Iowa, we get bigger and bigger and more enthusiastic crowds. So I think really the media would do better to not decide the race in advance by giving too much credence to polls that seem to be wrong.
You don't buy these polls at all that have you down.
Wrong. Yeah.
And one other thing,
seem to be accurate.
One of your colleagues, Marco Rubio, is getting a lot of attention these days. What concerns would you have? What should Republican voters be concerned about when they assess his potential candidacy?
I think one of the differences between our tax plans is his tax plan has nearly $1 trillion worth of refundable credits, which is basically government expenditures or welfare payments. And my plan would cut taxes for the working class, but we decided not to include a lot of refundable credits or welfare because the government's already short of money. And that'd be one of the main differences between his tax plan and mine.
And what about this questions about his personal finances using the Florida Republican Party card to charge personal expenses? Should that be an issue in the campaign, and does that give you any concern?
I think other people have to decide that. I don't know much about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.